Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're narrowing our focus quite a bit. We're looking at the institutional profile of ATURKIMI Academy.
Right.
And this isn't just, reading a school brochure out loud. We're treating this single institution as a really interesting case study. We want to see how these big, ambitious, modern national education policies are actually getting implemented on the ground in regional India specifically. So our mission today, pretty clear. Pull out the key strategic nuggets. How is it structured? What's the teaching approach, the pedagogy, and what's its role in the local community?
Yeah, those core pieces.
We're hunting for those little details that show policy meeting reality. Okay, let's unpack this.
And to really get that reality, we need to know where this is happening. So we're talking about Diphu. That's in the Karbi Anglong district of Assam.
Okay, Assam.
Yeah, deep in Assam.
Yeah.
And if you need the exact spot, it's listed as Rikusen Emapati. The PIN code is 782460. So it's a very specific place.
Right, not a major metro.
Definitely not. Which makes its sort of commitment to these national standards even more notable, I think.
And the school's beginnings are important, too, for context. It kicked off on February 10th, 2007. It operates as a co-ed day school, but, and this is interesting, it also has a semi-residential option.
Semi-residential, okay.
Exactly. And from day one, the idea was inclusivity. The sources say it explicitly serves diverse communities, different castes, different communities, different religions. That kind of foundation, well, it really sets the scene for what comes next with their curriculum.
So a regionally significant school, clearly aiming for diversity, accessibility. Let's look at the core structure then. What grades are we talking about?
It covers a pretty wide span, from nursery, so very young kids, all the way up to grade 10.
Okay.
And curriculum-wise, it follows the CBSE board. That's the Central Board of Secondary Education, nationally recognized, pretty standard.
Right. That's the kind of baseline most people would recognize. Exactly. But what's fascinating here, and where it gets really interesting as a case study, is how they've taken that standard CBSE framework and plugged it straight into this modern policy shift.
You mean the NEP?
Precisely, the new national education policy.
Yeah.
The source material really highlights their active focus on implementing it. For ATURKIMI Academy, this isn't just, lip service. They seem to be fundamentally restructuring how they teach based on it.
And that restructuring, it really hinges on that number sequence you see everywhere now, doesn't it? The 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure.
Yes.
Right.
That's the absolute core of the NEP's pedagogical shift.
It sounds a bit like a code, but it basically redraws the map of how kids move through school, right? Integrating learning much earlier.
Absolutely. It's worth breaking that down because it's quite revolutionary compared to the old 10+2 system. That's the foundational stage. It covers ages 3 to 8.
3 years old. So preschool basically becomes part of formal education.
Essentially, yes. It brings early childhood care and education, ECCE, right into the main structure. Learning starts formally much earlier than we used to think of school age.
Okay, so that's the 5, then the first 3.
That's the preparatory stage. Ages 8 to 11, think grades 3 to 5. More focus here on foundational literacy, numeracy, some interactive classroom learning.
Got it. And the next 3?
The middle stage, ages 11 to 14, so grades 6 to 8. This is where they start introducing more specialized subjects, sciences, maths, arts, social sciences, humanities.
And finally, the 4.
That's the secondary stage, ages 14 to 18, covering grades 9 to 12. It's multidisciplinary, more depth, critical thinking, flexibility in choosing subjects. ATURKIMI, even though it goes up to grade 10 now, is built on this entire 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 philosophy. They're applying this integrated, flexible structure. It makes them a great example of the NEP rollout in action.
Okay, but implementing something that comprehensive, that structured, especially in a regional setting like Diphu, it sounds like it would need serious resources. Who's actually running the show? Who's managing this?
Good question. The profile states it's managed by the ATURKIMI Society.
A society, okay.
And importantly, it's listed as private managed and unaided.
Unaided, so
Yeah.
no regular government funding.
That's what unaided typically implies, yes. So you have a private body, a non-government entity in a regional town, taking on the significant task and the cost of implementing a major national education reform.
That says a lot.
It really does. It points to significant institutional capacity, but also a real commitment to, future-proofing their students' education, doing it without relying on government budgets for it.
And you can see that capacity reflected in their facilities, maybe, moving beyond the policy structure to the actual tangible student experience.
Exactly. The sources make a point of highlighting modern facilities. Specifically, they mention the widespread use of digital smart classrooms.
Smart classrooms. Right, that's not just a lick of paint.
No, it's a serious technological investment, and it directly supports the kind of experiential, activity-based learning that the NEP, with its different stages, really pushes for.
And beyond the tech, what about their other focus areas? Is it just academics and smartboards?
Not at all. It sounds very holistic, which again fits the spirit of the NEP. They emphasize discipline, sure, but also creative activities, physical activities, not just as extras, but integrated.
Mm-hmm.
They also mention good residential and health organization, which is vital for those semi-residential students. And importantly, nurturing a sense of responsibility among the kids.
So character building, too, moving beyond just exam scores.
Seems like it. It sounds like they're aiming for that holistic assessment idea, not just rote learning for the CBSE exams, even though they follow that curriculum.
Okay.
And if we sort of connect the dots here, these investments, the tech, the holistic focus, the genuine commitment to that 5+3+3+4 structure, and this is likely why the school has built the reputation it has.
What is the reputation?
The material we looked at suggests it's regarded as one of the top schools in Diphu.
Okay. Top tier locally.
Yes. And that reputation seems built on those two pillars. The modern facilities we talked about and this clear, measurable commitment to child-focused learning. They seem to be, walking the talk on the national policy. Now, to really complete this institutional picture, we probably need to look at the admin side, the nuts and bolts, finances, regulations. For any private school, this stuff tells you a lot.
Right, about stability, accessibility, maybe even trustworthiness for parents.
Exactly. And this is where the profile gets quite specific and, I think, quite revealing about transparency.
How so?
Well, the sources give a pretty clear idea of the fees for the academic session. It mentions annual fees around 10,150 rupees.
10,000, okay, annually.
And monthly fees around 1,100 rupees.
That sounds quite low, actually, especially for a private school with smart classrooms and all that.
It does seem very accessible, which, again, ties right back to that founding principle we mentioned, serving diverse communities. A low-fee barrier helps achieve that.
But it's not just the number itself that's important here, is it? There's something about regulation.
Precisely. This is maybe the crucial administrative point. The school isn't just setting these fees in a vacuum. It's received official exemption certificates and, critically, fee fixation certificates.
Fee fixation.
From who? Directly from the Assam Education Department, the state government body.
Wow, okay. What does that actually mean for parents on the ground?
It's huge. It means this private school's fees aren't arbitrary. They've been reviewed, validated, essentially capped or approved by the regional government authority.
So it signals accountability.
Massive accountability. It basically says, yes, we're private, but we operate within government-approved financial boundaries. Our pricing is fair and regulated. That builds a lot of trust, especially in the private education sector.
Yeah, I can see how that would be reassuring.
And just to round off the practicalities, the profile lists contact info clearly.
Yeah.
Phone numbers for the principal, 910-138-6350 and 863-816-7491, and an email, aturkimiacademy@redifmail.com. All points towards an open, accountable institution.
Okay, so what does this all mean? Let's try and pull these threads together. We've got ATURKIMI Academy. It's regional, it's private, it's unaided.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it seems to be successfully and quite thoroughly implementing major national education policy.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, that whole 5+3+3+4 structure from the NEP.
Right, tackling that head on.
And at the same time, it's sticking to its focus on its community, on diversity, on holistic development. You see that in the digital classroom, the focus areas. And crucially, in those accessible government-regulated fees.
Yeah.
It really feels like a snapshot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A specific example of how big policy ideas get translated into actual school practice, accountably too.
Absolutely. I think this case study shows perfectly how that national level planning can be executed effectively on the ground. Even in diverse regional settings, it shows the capacity is there, the compliance mechanisms are working, and there's a clear commitment to maintaining quality while operating within defined financial and regulatory limits.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. We've seen this real emphasis on administrative transparency, particularly those official fee fixation certificates from the state government.
Mm-hmm. That regulatory piece.
Yeah. Now, given that private schools can sometimes operate with, let's say, varying degrees of oversight, what impact do you think this specific level of governmental price validation has on trust, on how parents actually choose a school for their kids in that area.
It's a great question.
How much value does that visible transparency, that government checkmark, add to a private school's reputation and standing in its community? Something to think about regarding the future landscape of private education in India.